Greetings, heathens and heretics. Seasons greetings, heathens
Oh
and
my
heretics.
God.
Yeah, I know. I went. I did it last year as well, but
Yeah. Oh, we've got proper celebrations happening. Look at that.
That's just
Look
that's
at
wow.
just
that.
terrible. Absolutely terrible. As a
Well,
waste of
you say
99p that.
terrible. I say above and beyond.
Oh, you are going the extra mile.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was chaotic. Wasn't it? Anyway, welcome to
What,
albums of
what's,
the year.
what's wrong with chaos?
Well,
That's what drives us, surely.
yeah, it's true. It's true. Why change a habit of a lifetime?
Mm.
Yeah, it's dark, it's cold, it's miserable. I've had the week from hell because it's the busiest time of the year. I'm just fucking sick of it. So, what better way to remedy that than get together?
Hey! Bah
Hey.
humbug! You
Yeah.
Scrooge bastard.
If you let me finish,
Oh,
what better way is there
oh,
to
there's a
remedy
twist.
that
There's a twist to this
than
story.
a few of these, and
Mm.
a few of these from the
Oh,
years gone past. So, you know,
damn right.
how are we all, gentlemen? Are we all full of Christmas joy?
I, I'll tell you what, I'm full of this Christmas joy.
Excellent. I've just
Yeah.
spent 2 hours at a kid's Christmas party and could not wait to escape.
Did they know you were there?
Yeah, that's
DBS check was allowed.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it.
Yeah.
good. Did you win? Did you win the pass the parcel though, Gav?
I don't think they play that anymore since
What?
COVID.
Oh, is political correctness gone wrong?
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
My
we're on the
God.
Christmas beers. I got the plum pudding, which is actually,
Nice.
well, I say
Seasonal?
actually, I don't want to sound
Seasonal?
surprised, but it is quite nice actually. It's just the Romney Marsh Brewery.
Oh, swampy.
So yeah, there's a little bit Dungeness in there.
Plumbing beer is nice. It goes lovely.
Mm, no, it's a good
Um,
one actually. It's
Who
always a
doesn't
dodgy.
like a plum?
well, so we're all in the dark, miserable winter and whatnot. What's Christmas like in Saudi, holy man?
It's non-existent. But
D- does it settle?
the
Does it settle out there?
the compound does have a Santa Grotto, so
Are you lying? Come on.
there's some kind of like Christmas tree out, and they've got a Christmas light, but it's not the same when it's like 25 degrees outside.
It's not the same when you haven't got a chimney.
Well, yeah,
That's the
yeah.
key. That's the key factor. You can't have
Santa's just
Christmas
like,
without a
No,
chimney.
no, but there is a Christmas dinner on Christmas Day, so I'm
fucking
going to
hell.
that.
I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to those pigs in blanket, mate, is it?
Yeah. I mean, can you
No,
can
they'll,
you
be,
can you
they'll do it. They'll do that, but it will be beef sausages wrapped with beef bacon. So
can you
That's
get
fine.
No.
do they have is there such thing as sprouts in
yeah,
Saudi?
yeah.
Fuck.
They fly them in on the Concorde.
Mate.
No, you can get. I keep look the supermarket on the compound is basically a Sainsbury's, so you can get all the British stuff there.
Oh,
There you
Yeah.
go. He landed on his
fair
fucking
enough.
feet.
Fair enough. Do they let you have an advent calendar?
Ooh, steady on.
Yeah. This well,
Mm,
yeah. You can. I think you can buy those in Riyadh. Yeah,
right.
there's Marks and Spencers in Riyadh. So
Oh well, there you go. All
Right.
bases covered. What we got news
Enough
about?
fucking Christmas talk. We so every year obviously we do the end of the year stuff and whatnot, but as we waffle way too much most of the time, we'll split it into two. So this week we're just going to focus purely on the top 11 albums of the year because obviously 11 is better than 10. Um,
It
it's a
goes to
it's a
11. The list goes to 11.
yeah, it's our usual overly complicated NASA based system of scoring, but we're all we're all pretty happy with the way it's come out. So we kick
There's a
it
lot
off.
of maths involved. This is the thing that astounds me. Every year there's so much maths going on, and
Look,
I mean,
you've got to have a spreadsheet. You've got to have a system.
Yeah.
well,
Otherwise
It's,
chaos rules.
I mean, it only took me 2 minutes to work out the formula, so that's
oh, I see. It's a fix. It's a fix.
Yeah, probably fucking is. But look, should we kick it off?
Well, we
Let's
ought
go.
to.
Well,
We
I'm
ought
asking
to.
you a question. If you don't want it, we'll just sit here and chat. I mean, I don't mind. It's fine.
I'm happy either way. Do
All
you
right,
know
let's
what?
kick off then.
It's
Let's kick
okay.
off.
Okay.
Right, so number 11. Well, we've actually got two joint number 10s. So is it cheating? I don't
yes,
know. Either way.
yes.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
falling
little
apart
bit like
already.
getting a medal for coming like seventh in the egg and spoon race, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, look, everyone loves a trier, but that's not what this is all about. Because every single one of these albums is a fucking banger. So we'll kick off with a bit of a comeback album, which I think is clearly hit unexpectedly. I don't think one person we know will be happy with this, which will come true in a minute. But it's Coroner's sort of comeback album, Dissonance Theory. Now, this is what first album? What was it? 15 years? Is it? Is that right?
About
Maybe
30,
Yeah.
30 albums.
Yeah.
something like that. So, look, we'll hand this straight to Voice of Reason, really, because this was your album of the year, straight off the bat, just like that.
It is indeed, which is interesting because it's a band that have completely eluded me historically. So I've got a back catalogue to delve into, which should be quite easily because there's only about 3 or 4 albums in the past, isn't there?
3, I think. Yeah, it's something like that. It's
Yeah,
pretty
nice.
short.
yeah, there you go.
Nice.
No excuses.
Short and sweet.
I saw some positive stuff online and yeah, checked it out. It's a thrash band, so got to give it a go. It's an old thrash band, but there was a lot of praise. But I think what really surprised me about this album rather, is how organic it sounded. I mean, you always talk about it being the sort of like the rush of thrash, thrash, thrush,
Thrush.
thrush metal. No,
Got it.
but
The world isn't ready for that.
no. I found it. I mean, funny enough, I think the last album was back in '93. I think I was speaking to Padre earlier,
Right.
and there is a distinctly '90s feel to this album, I think, which is what surprised me. Because when you think thrash, you think '80s, don't you? You got that distinct sound, but those melodies and those choruses are quite introverted, I find, and they've got a sort of warmth in them that made me think of bands like alternative rock bands. Like this might sound odd, but it brought to mind Curb Dog at times.
Right.
Um,
Right.
which
That's
that's my era. So you've heard
But
me
it's
in.
great. I love that. I love that about heavy music, where you can just draw those parallels, from
like,
one
yeah,
era
yeah,
to the next.
I was listening to this out and it reminded me completely of Peter and the Test Tube Babies. for no reason.
Exactly.
But no, it sounded so fresh, but at the same time it was heavy. It was pummeling and it rattled along at a decent pace, but it knows exactly when to move around in different ways and make things interesting. And for me, it's probably the most cohesive album of the year overall. I think the rest of my list is enjoyable, but this just feels almost, a different level, I think. And I know they're all much older now, and they've probably been working on this in behind the scenes here and there, and thought it's good enough to make. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, if it's going to take you 30 years to write a classic, so be it. I just haven't bought it on vinyl yet for reasons, but it's my post Christmas. It's on my post Christmas list on the.
He's waiting for the sales, isn't it? He's waiting for the January sales.
No. Well, no, I'll get it anyway. It won't be on sale because I think the nature of it. But no, I just got to get round to it. But it's a fantastic album, and it's another buddy band to check out on my list.
It speaks to that era of great production. It's like, you mentioning the 90s, that kind of Curb Dog reference. It's like I do think, and I'm going to sound like an old curmudgeon, but I think that's welcome on this podcast, that I think that was the last era of great production where things sounded organic. So when we hear things, and actually there's a few bands that are going to come up on this list, which I think are calling back to an age of organic sounding production. So I completely get that. When we hear that, it pricks up our ears. Absolutely.
I think what I'd like to add to the Coroner thing is there's 2 songs on there, Sacrificial Lamb and Symmetry. They've got absolutely amazing guitar solos. And that's one of the things that stands out on this Coroner album, is that there are proper guitar solos. And there's more solos on this album than there were on the earlier albums. So, like, for example, R.I.P. 1987 is their first album. There aren't a massive amount of guitar solos on that album. And they are a thrash band, but they're definitely more on the progressive end of the spectrum. And I think back in the day, they probably suffered because of that, because they didn't get lumped in with the classical big 4, little 3, little 4, whatever it was. So that, they were overshadowed by Testament and Overkill, I think, in that kind of second tier of thrash bands. But like this album has got guitar solos, like Bean said, that remind you of like the late 80s and the early 90s, like kind of production. So that's one of the standouts for this album. But it's definitely worth checking out. It's a shame it's not higher up the list. It's definitely it's a great album, and I think there's 5 albums previously,
Right.
so
I don't know
wouldn't
if
be
it's the
much.
same, just on, like if it's the same lineup, or it'd be interesting to see.
Same guitar players.
Right.
Tommy Vitrelli is the guitar player because there are 3. This is the other thing. Coroner are a 3-piece.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I'll
for a
drink to that.
3-piece
We
band,
love a power 3-piece.
for a 3-piece band doing this kind of thrash, you've got to tip your cap to them because they don't sound like a 3-piece band. And it's not like they're a Pantera style band where they've got some kind of groove that they can hang the riffs on. They don't. There's some quite technical key changes and time changes on some of their albums. So they're definitely worth checking out. I've been saying for years they've been overlooked. So it's nice to see them back.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely technical. You use the word complex then as well, Padre, and it is. And I found it slightly less accessible than some of the other stuff. But as I've listened to it a couple of times more this week, kind of leading up to this, all of a sudden I'm finding my kind of way into it. And I think it might just be one of those ones. If I'd had more time to invest in it, maybe if it had come out earlier on in the year, it would have been a bit higher up my list.
I think there is a groove in there. I think that's what eventually got me because first couple of listens, and I saw Coroner live years ago and was quite blown away by how powerful they were for a 3-piece. And this was like in the early days of the outdoor Bloodstock, so it wasn't the greatest setup, and they were still like really fucking powerful. I think they were on just after Primal Fear, who are Route One fucking power metal, and then they were on after. And this album took me a while, but I think once you get past the progness as it is, you start to recognize the groove. The drumming is what carries it for me because it thunders along and it's got a really good pace. It doesn't get dull at any point. It just kind of it just hits hard all the way through.
It's the spirit of Motorhead, which
it is
like
exactly
who cannot relate to that? That is the beating, bleeding heart of heavy metal.
They're a Swiss band as well, so they probably took so long on this album because they were getting loads of really decent welfare payments.
and it's a good length. It does it's welcome.
The government was ringing them up. The government was ringing them up. Have you finished this damn album yet? They're like, trust me, it's going to be big. Just keep sending the checks.
Yeah.
But it's
great, and I think to Gab's point as well. Actually, it's worthy of repeated listens. It's one of those albums. If you didn't catch it the first time round, it's like check it out and stick with it because I think it gets its roots in. It's really
not a one listen album, definitely.
No.
And you look at some of the weeks, the sheer volume of stuff that comes out, that it's easy to just let a couple of albums just kind of drift by the wayside.
And
on that point, some of them are longer than others, and some of them they are an investment of time.
Yeah. And I just, on that point, a shout out to our Belgian correspondent, Mr. Savage, who I think put this fully on our radar, man. He was like an early endorser of this record. So, shout out there because it's definitely lit up our playlists.
Yeah. And on that note.
Oh, look at this. No,
early with that, haven't you?
I had no idea we were bringing special effects.
Fuck me.
I've got a Yoda puppet somewhere.
Look, we're putting on gigs now. We've got no excuse not to.
Production. Yeah, you got to have a bit of that.
Yeah, this is true. This is the In the Abyss equivalent of pyro.
This is what happens when you allow people to be waving pens around. It escalates.
No pens.
And like this would never have happened if I'd been here consistently for the last 6 months. Standards have slipped. Okay, I'm going to crack the whip in the new year because I've had enough.
I'm fine with whips. Anyway, look, should we go something a little bit more close to home then? Joint 10 then was Mutagenic, the diseased machine. And this goes all the way back to fucking January. This is nearly a year old, this album.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
technically, it
crazy.
goes back to December, really.
Well, yeah, when it should have come out November 2024.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really is, a year old. And that, being this is your album of the year, but before we let you sort of, rabbit on about it, I think the one statement I want to make about it is it's the oldest album on this list, and that in itself is testament to how fucking good it is because it's still fresh in your minds and it's still there. And for a debut album, just fuck me, did they absolutely nail it?
I mean, what can I add to that? It's like for me, so I just do want to make this absolutely clear. This was my album of the year. I put this at the top of the tree. So and just to kind of come in on what you just said, because it's held its own, because this is an album that came out, I mean, what, the first week of January,
3rd
I
of January
think.
was out, yeah, yeah.
Right, so 3rd of January, right? So an early contender. But do you know what? 52 weeks of the year, we've had all these different albums been released, and Mutagenic Host has just kind of like bosh, bosh, punch. Yeah, it's like, and it's held its own and it's stayed there for me. It has remained as a piece of quality death metal, right? It's heavy. There, the riff count is high. It's got some
Yeah.
hardcore elements in there. Great guys, we've had them on the podcast. We've talked music, and for anyone that wants to find out more, go back right to the beginning of the year and find the episode because we spoke to the guys in Mutagenic Host, and they talk about the concept behind the album, the themes behind the album, but pushing all that aside, it's fucking heavy. It's a debut. It's a young band. It's it's held its own amongst some really fucking impressive releases. We're going to talk about some of them as the episode goes on, but I put it at number one for that reason because it started the year and it impressed us all, and that uh and it did that my feelings about it did not diminish through the year, no matter what we threw at it. New albums were released, new heavy metal, and it has held its own as a fucking prime slice of heavy metal.
It's like fucking Ric Flair in a Royal Rumble. It's just
That's it. I'm telling you, like, I don't even understand that reference, but I get it. Like,
I barely
like
understand
that's
it.
it. It's like if this was a cage fight and Mutagenic Hosts were in the ring and they had to fight off the competition, they have held their own for the entire year, and for that reason, I want to put them at the top. I think it's a superb album.
Yeah, yeah,
And
look, well deserved. And another point to make is that fundamentally it's got old school death metal roots, but this is how you do it in the modern day.
Yeah,
Obviously the better production values and everything like that, but it's not overdone.
We all know.
It's
We
all
all know
still
that the
filthy, got all that
reason.
crunch.
this is a group of musicians that understand the riff,
Yeah, yeah,
right? This is a group of musicians that know how to lay it down thick,
yeah.
right? And you can't argue with that. And that's why we're at the end of the year. We're not arguing with it. It's here.
Look, Bean, we all know. We all know the reason it's your number one, and it's been that way for 12 months. Is as I'm sure the monthly direct debits from interested parties have kept it at number one. Okay, it's just,
Well, no,
this
no,
has
no,
been
no.
this has
That's
been bought. You're bought and paid for.
Full
I'm
year
telling you.
paid up.
Listen. Inquiries are being made. The
I
payments
mean,
have stopped. I'm not sure what's happening, but
they're not exactly a big band, so B must be very cheap if that's the case.
this is
Yeah,
true. And I've never made any claim otherwise.
the Bristol Weekender show when we saw them live, they were
Yeah,
absolutely like unbelievable.
Well,
yeah, they
this is
were.
an important point because this is a band that bring it live. So we saw them at the Bristol Weekender, we saw them at the Moore Beer
More beer vaults,
Vaults,
wasn't it? Back in
and
January. Yeah.
back in January, it was an album release show, I think. And this is a band that, they mean it when they put it down on record, and they mean it when they bring it to the stage.
Yeah.
And I'm all about that, and for that reason, I put them at number one, my album of the year, Mutagenic Host.
Yeah. That live element brings some of it just, yeah, it packs a massive punch. Um, is it Gene Stealer? Is like the second track on there, right? I love that on like headphones or whatnot, but I think Twisted Helix when they played that live right? It's
What
like someone,
chance?
it's literally like someone is shaking you.
Yeah, what chance do any of us stand against that? That's why we go to live shows because we want to be slapped and kind of we want our pocket money stolen.
It'd be quite funny if the band actually disagreed with you about them being number one. That'd be quite funny.
Well,
I don't think they will.
they can
They
submit their
phone you up.
complaint in
They phone you
writing.
up.
Oh.
What the fuck are you doing? We're not that good.
Man, listen, look.
And they're like, don't tell us about our music. Don't tell us how good it is.
It's subjective, isn't it?
And to summarize, up the Villa. Yes.
Oh, here we
Yeah,
go.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 On an
Now you're really greasing it.
Yeah.
an associated note, is there a Bristol Weekender in 2026?
Well, they're quite. We may make an appearance of some kind. I'm not entirely sure what.
I think I have to go this time because I missed the last two.
Well,
for
let's just say
reasons,
Bristol will
so-
happen. Even if there's no weekend, I think we should just go to Bristol.
Exactly.
Yeah, Bristol, we're coming. It's an annual pilgrimage. We'll make
We
it.
can actually get to the we can get to Black City now without like falling over a fence.
Well, this is it, and it's like it's like the middle, isn't it? Gav comes from that weird land, Mordor, wherever it is he's from.
Trydane.
The two tits. Good evening, two tits from Birmingham. We all just kind of converge on Bristol and lay siege on it, and it just seems to work. So yeah, Bristol, we'll definitely be back.
We'll do it in May, and I'll meet you there.
Let's do it in April. Number 9 then. So all the way from fucking down under. They are Australian. I'm thinking that right, aren't I?
Yes.
Yes. Dirty Pagans, Forever High. Now, anybody who's listened to this podcast for a long time,
What the fuck are you doing?
yeah, get a life.
Shut up! Come
go all the way
on.
back to I think probably 2022. I think maybe when you introduced Dirty Pagans to the world as your first ever unsung banger, Bean. So.
Stand by it.
Talk about this band then, because like for me, right, I get it. The album's great, love it. It's very Sabbathy, got loads of swagger and groove, and it's all good fun and that. But why have we got it in the top 11? What makes it stand out against other albums that's similar? Because Sabbathy stuff is to a penny. So what is it about Dirty Pagans that stands out?
Because it fucking rips.
Yeah.
If you can pull off
these Dirty Pagans they're referring to, because they're Australian, right?
Yeah.
Is this like some kind of like underhand reference to the indigenous population, is it?
No.
Stop overthinking things.
No, this is heavy metal, and this is the thing. This is a band that fuses like all of your favorite heavy metal genres, right? Come to like they all meet at the point, which is the Dirty Pagans. It's Sabbath meets Judas Priest. I like, for me, Dirty Pagans, like back in the 80s, you used to have little villages that were twinned with other villages, right?
Yeah.
Around the world. So you'd have like some village in Kent and it'd be twinned with some Swiss village or a French village. For me, the Dirty Pagans are like the Australian twin of Flamebearer. Okay. This is
like that.
this is
I can get that.
This is fucking filthy fucking rock and roll. It's got a beer budget with champagne ideas. Okay. They're
what a line.
Bloody hell.
What a line.
they are kicking for the moon, all right? And it comes across. It's it's not the slickest production, but that energy and that passion and that enthusiasm for heavy music comes through. And I there aren't many albums I enjoy as much as I enjoy Dirty Pagans albums. They just fucking tick all the boxes. It really is a smorgasbord of like, oh, that's the Sabbath bit. Oh, that's the Priest bit. Oh, it's a little bit Scorpions. That is. Oh, King Diamond's turned up.
Yeah, this is high on my list, and it's just a brilliant car album. It is like a road trip album where you're taken on a journey. The first opening 3 tracks are just brilliant, and Killer in the Night, right, needs to be the end credits of an 80s slasher horror film.
Oh.
Right? It would be absolutely just perfect. And big call out to my daughter Matilda, who absolutely just loves this song as well. we're in the house the other day and she's wandering around. I can just hear her singing Killers of the Night. Just excellent. And then if you can go from that to a song called Dump Truck Mama about women with big fat asses, that's the variance that you want. What's not to like?
That's a rock and roll tradition, isn't it?
Sorry,
Australian rock and roll tradition.
going back to this this Dirty Pagan's name, is Dirty Pagan some kind of Australian slang for like Australian people that don't like AC/DC?
No, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Or it's Australian
deportation.
slang for people that think Airborne are better than AC/DC.
Well, that's definitely
Hang on, end the episode.
Because that's heresy.
Cut that off. Edit that out. Fucking hell.
Yeah,
Don't say that out
See,
loud.
this is the thing, right? What Australia did when they got to grips with their immigration problems, what they had is they just had like the Coast Guard out off the waters of Australia, and when they saw the boats coming towards them, they just held up an album by AC/DC, and they're like, "Name the album, and you can come in," and they couldn't get it, so they sent them back. See, like,
shall we move on to the next album?
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should because it's definitely close to home for someone on this podcast. So, right, to give you a little bit of a backstory about this band, yeah, on his chest. So this album, right, Asadara, self-titled Asadara, and yeah, it is an absolute fucking banger. But to give you a bit of a story, so a couple of years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, they were due to release an EP, which makes up a big chunk of this album. It was coming out on vinyl, but for what I don't really know what happened, but they essentially got fucked over by someone who runs an independent label. It never happened. I think they lost a fuck ton of money over it. And they kind of went their separate ways. And I think roughly a year or so ago, they obviously got the band back together and, you know, get back in the room. So they recorded a couple of new songs. The EP that should have come out on vinyl a couple of years ago is part of this, and they put it together in a package. So it's partly a new album, partly old, but I think it's more about the band being back and playing shows again and doing what they do. You know, and they're a fucking awesome band, Asadara. This is like fucking absolute top-notch crossover thrash.
Yeah.
And because of that, it's Padre's album of the year. So, holy man, you rabbited on about this band ages ago.
yeah, I mean, I've been waiting for the album to come out because that EP came out in late 2022. It was just
there you go, 3 years. Yeah,
it was the first year that we started the pod, and so like that first 6 months of the podcast, I was listening to a lot of crossover. So Power Trip, Lowest Creature, Enforced, some Doomsday, because they had their EP out as well. Celestial Devastation. I'm not saying they're crossover, but like bands in that ilk. And then I heard this, and the track that got me was Enter the Eldritch God, which is just, again, it's like 3 minutes in, there's just a riff that is just absolutely crushing. And it's I think crossover thrash is probably the best thing that's happened to metal in a long time, because it's got the best parts of thrash and, you know, hardcore. And thrash has always had some elements of like a breakdown to some extent, but then when you put that more closely with hardcore, and then you get guitar playing like this, and overlays as well, because they're not just riffs, they're putting things on top of it. It's just it's great. So like the first 3 tracks, Death's Pale Horse, Iron Gauntlet, March of the Bastard, right? Just yeah, they just grab you. And then obviously the song I've just named, Enter the Eldritch God, that comes later. It's just riff after riff after riff. So if you've listened to Lowest Creature, or you like Power Trip, or you like Doomsday or Enforced, or even if you like Hatebreed and things like that, and Biohazard, go and listen to this band. What's the other band?
If you love life, go and listen to this band.
If you like Stamping Ground, go and listen to this band. So, some of the riffs on here remind me of Stamping Ground as well. So it's just, you know, it's a great album. So I've been listening to this 3-track EP they put out for 3 years. So we finally get the album, and it didn't disappoint, because there was a risk that it was gonna, those three tracks were going to be great, and then the album's like, oh, it's not that good. It's not. It's solid. And it's a British band as well. So it's good, you know.
Whoa,
And
whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, whoa.
and
Hang
then
on.
let's go to the voice. Sorry, to cultural advisor there.
British? No, 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 I'm not having it. They are Welsh. And Chuck made sure when he was on stage last night, he told everybody numerous times. So yeah, I was lucky to go and see them last night in Cardiff. They promoted their own gig, chose the support acts, had a cancer charity aligned to it. Money from each ticket went to the cancer charity. They did a raffle there, which raised 400 quid, and there was prizes and everything as well. And what a night! Right, it was absolutely outstanding. Club Eiffel back, the busiest I've seen it in ages. Downstairs in the hottest, sweaty room that you can be in. Right,
I'm in that right now.
just kicking off in the pit, slightly kicking off too much at one point as somebody gets wailed out the back door. But just a showman. He's up there leading that band, and it's just dense, loads of riffs, some great guitar work, and I came out of there and my ears were bleeding,
Good.
and and Chuck listens to the pod as well. When I spoke to him last night, he said I was listening to it yesterday.
Oh, nice. There
So,
you go. So shout out right
big
now.
shout out. Yeah, so I had to buy the t-shirts. This was a special t-shirt that they did for the gig with Cardiff Castle on and the dragon and whatnot. So yeah,
Man.
fair play, boys. You absolutely smashed it last night.
Very fucking cool. Yeah, very fucking cool. And I think, just to repeat the point, I think that's something that's really important to us on this podcast is like a band that can deliver a really fucking great album, but show up and do that live is always going to be an enjoyable thing for us.
Fucking right, it is.
Yeah.
this is the thing. You got bands like that would probably blow Sleep Token off the stage. And that's the shit that gets shoved down our throats.
I could blow Sleep Token off the stage with a
He
fucking
could. I've watched him do. I've watched him. He can do it. Like he absolutely can blow Sleep Token off the stage. Just him watching him now pouring that beer is giving me more anticipation than Sleep Token have ever introduced into my life. So,
Well, they obviously are our album of the year. Oh shit, I gave it away. Fuck.
oh shh.
No, that's Revolver.
Fuck Revolver.
Yeah.
They didn't
clip that as well.
Did they? Did they?
Yeah.
Revolver magazine. Yeah.
That website is a disgrace.
Yeah, the whole fucking thing.
I mean, I'm
Like, it's
Anyway,
not just that. It's that I accidentally clicked notifications on that website, and the amount of shit they are the worst fucking website for anything that Mustaine says. Like, and they'll take like
I know.
they'll take
Mustaine is the worst fucking website.
No, because
Mustaine says
they'll take a sentence he says and they'll write an entire article about, and it's just conjecture, and you're just like, this isn't even fucking journalism, Or another website will quote something, and then they're like some kind of like bird of prey that just hovers over everyone's work and just pounces on something they like the look of.
Well, they get fucking shot if they hovered over mine.
Yeah, good. Shoot them.
Right.
On.
Has anybody got anything more to say about Asadara before we move on?
Only that they rule, and it's a fucking great album. What's the album
also,
called? I don't think we've mentioned any of the album names as we've
It's
gone
self-titled.
through.
Yeah.
There you go. In that case, easy.
Why are you not wrestling?
One of the things I quite like is so just going back to that track, Enter the Eldritch God. I didn't know what an Eldritch God is, but it's actually the Lovecraftian stuff. So it's all Cthulhu, and there's two others. Look it up on Wikipedia. It's an interesting read the Wikipedia page about what an Eldritch God is. You learn something.
If we're talking,
Mold wine.
Cthulhu, that's
Mold wine has just entered the arena.
Oh, hang on. Like, album of the year.
Helen, well done. Well done.
What can I say?
What's next? Come on,
man.
Let's move on.
In the abyss
right.
enters Christmas at this point.
Right, number 7.
Yourself.
Fucking number 7. Right, all the way from northeast.
Oh my god.
From the Tune.
My god.
Our good friends, Dunes, Land of the Blind. You hear that? That was the album title. Drummist, Land of the Blind.
Let's say it out louder.
Land of the Blind. Can you
Yeah.
see? Ah.
Yes, in italics.
Came out on Ripple Music as well. Their debut for Ripple Music. So, one of the best fucking labels out there, especially for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Look, what can we say about Dunes? We absolutely love Dunes. They are good friends of ours, granted. But look, when you know it's a banger, you know it's a banger. And they just, again, I think we've got this. What we said about them after Bay Days is they've also got that spirit of Motorhead. They're also a three-piece, and it's all in the riff, it's all in the groove, it's all in the hook. And fuck me, they just absolutely nailed it with this album. And again, this one came out in fucking January as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it
what
was
is
an
it?
early
Early,
release.
Yeah,
yeah.
a long,
It was
long
an
time
early
ago.
release.
So
It was an early release.
yeah,
And to make the point again, we said this on the Bay Days episode, having seen them live, because again, another band that just bring it live, that just put their money where their mouth is. It's the songwriting. It's
it's
incredible tunes.
Yes.
It's world class tunes, right? And that's why this is a UK band signed to a US label, because this is a band that are writing world class tunes.
yep.
And that's why people need to pay attention. That's why we've paid attention, and that's why it's on the list, because we our relationship with the band goes back a long while, and we've played gigs and we've booked gigs and we've been along as punters to see gigs by June. So in all of that, we've become friends and acquaintances, and we just enjoy seeing each other. But you could set that all aside and still maintain that this is a quality album. It's good songwriting, it's passionate performances. This is a band that aspire to be world class, and they're delivering.
Yeah. It's got that replay factor, right? It's
Yeah.
catchy. And Tides
Mhm.
is an absolute banger,
There
right?
you go.
As soon as it comes on, so that's been one of the songs of theirs that has been in my kind of regular playlist, and it just pops up. And as soon as it comes on, yes.
Yeah.
It's voodoo for me. Just the hook all the
It's
way through
always
that.
voodoo for you, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it
It's
is.
all
It's fucking Papa Shango
voodoo
all day long.
all the time. It's like, well, it's just voodoo, isn't it?
Fucking
You know,
voodoo magic, man.
washing machine breaks down. Oh, it's just voodoo, isn't it?
It's
Magic
like
people, voodoo people.
Yeah, yeah. That's what it goes back to. I blame the
The
90s.
power of voodoo.
Yeah.
Power of
Who-
voodoo.
Voodoo's
Remind
a
me of the
title
bass.
track.
the Dunes album it's great. I love it. But when you finish something on Spotify and then something else just gets thrown on that's in the same vein.
Yeah.
So one of the other albums that's on my list is Weed Demon, Doom Scroll. If you like that Dunes album, go and listen to Weed Demon, Doom Scroll by Weed Demon. Then this other band got thrown up. It's not a new album. The Weed Demon album came out this year, but there's another album. There's a band from Louisville, Kentucky called She. They've got an album called Depressive Suicidal Stoner Doom.
Fucking hell.
I was listening to it.
The review should just be like, does what it says on the tin. Surely.
No, it's even better than that. I was thinking about that. This is the kind of stoner rock that lets you have your weed and smoke it too. I mean, it's just if I was still partaking in that kind of thing, then I would be lighting one up.
Were you feeling a bit hazy just listening to it?
Yeah, you were. And it's all good. I mean, Dunes are so good they're pulling other bands into their orbit.
There's the quote right there. And you're right though. It is, and it's not just bands; it's people. Like I said, they were playing at Bay Days a couple of weeks ago as this goes out, and just had people transfixed. Right, this is a quality band, and they're writing quality music, and they deliver.
Yeah,
that's
full
endorsement there for Dunes.
They need to come out here and play the big music
playing the Dunes.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out in Nicky Watson. They have got one of the most fucking spellbinding drummers to
Yeah.
watch I've seen in a long, long time. Man, that man can hit that kit fucking hard.
Man, this is a guy that aspires to be one of the greats. I mean, this is a guy that takes playing the drums seriously.
Yeah,
And just on that note, you know, he's doing double duties at the moment. So if you're checking out Goblin Smoker anytime soon, Nicky's playing drums with Goblin
yeah,
Smoker as well. So he's doing the double. This is a guy that eats, you know, is a Chad Smith quote here, but this is a guy that eats drums for breakfast, right? This is your drummer's drummer. This is a guy that loves it and just wants you to love it too. And he plays like he wants you to love the drums as well.
yeah. Fucking,
Like,
fucking right.
Although while we're here, I will just make a point. AD, I'm not Padre.
Look, they were drunk.
Yeah, and I was not with it, was I? I was not myself.
There's only one Padre, thank God.
Yeah, thank fuck for that. Anyway, look, right, number 6. Right, let's crack on. So look, another. This isn't just like a loving with friends or anything, but look, it's just
hang
the way it
on,
goes.
hang on. I accepted the invitation on the requisite that it
You'll
was a
accept an
lovely.
invitation to the opening of a fucking envelope. So let's just get on with it. Right. So Grey, Kodak. I think look, we can talk about the album. I think what we really need to talk about with this band is live. Um, Look, we've seen them live a handful of times, but earlier in the year, we had them in Chelmsford supporting Cage Fight, and I think the effect they had on people after that performance, that sort of 45, 50 minutes, was just absolutely fucking mind blowing. And that's where this album came to life.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fucking unbelievable. People were in tears after that, and that's not an exaggeration either. People were genuinely wiping tears
It's
from
also
their
not a complaint.
No,
It's
it's
like,
not.
Yeah.
they were in tears asking for their money back. No.
Just a level of passion and commitment that I don't really see elsewhere. I don't know. It's really hard to describe how they do it live. When you
I
think
think
they're
I
mostly
think
instrumental as well.
I think passion is the operative word there because I think that's what comes across, and I think that's where the connection comes because
Yeah.
you're seeing
They do
a
it
group
live.
of musicians that just capture people's
Mm.
passion for heavy music. You know, they just lay it down in a way that just connects. There's something quite
Yeah.
emotive about their delivery. And I think that's the thing about Kodak is as an album, it kind of lays things bare, you know, and there's some really solid collaborations. So
Mm.
while you're kind of, you know, while your heart is being wrung out with this heavy emotional music, you know, all of a sudden you've got Grady from Will Haven turning up and just laying down some fucking bars, and then, you know,
Got Ricky
um,
Warwick plays
Ricky
on it.
Warwick turns up as well,
Ace from Skunk and Nancy
you
plays on
know,
it.
and that
If you
fucking
if you've got, you can talk about passion and everything, and that's very important. But just overlook the fact they're just very good musicians. They write songs that are
It's
6, 7, 8 minutes
outstanding.
long,
Yeah.
oh
and
yeah,
then and that's
fully.
all well and good. Putting that on an album, but then to translate that to the stage and not have people getting bored, and to take them on this like
Well,
meandering
that's the
journey
point.
with you.
That's the point because the
Yeah,
world is full of great musicians. Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
can be a good musician, but it's the good
They're
musicians that understand
they're
heartache, that understand
storytellers.
pain, that understand, you know, joy, that understand emotion. And this is what the Grey bring to their music. You know, they are all really skilled musicians, but they tap into something that just
Yeah.
speaks to people.
I think I'm the only one who didn't see them live earlier this year, aren't I? And Tregenza, you messaged me only a few days ago. You've got to see them live,
Yeah.
Mm,
right?
mm,
The word that
mm.
I've written down, which I've felt when you're listening to this, right, is suffocating.
Right.
It's like a heavy blanket being like wrapped around you, where you can't. There's so much atmosphere, right? There's almost like an element of like dread
Mm,
to some of it, where it becomes almost claustrophobic
yeah.
to a point, and that's like where all of a sudden all those emotions are going to start coming out, and I can absolutely get it that they're going to people who see them live 50 minutes, right, and they're probably exhausted watching it.
There is a bit
Yeah,
of that, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it
But
takes
do
out
you
of
know
that.
what the key word you said there was blanket? Because for all that claustrophobia, a blanket is a comfort as well. And I think this is the line that the grey walk. It's like oppressive and kind of it's heavy and it weighs down on you, but also it kind of offers you some kind of there's comfort in there and there is lightness in the dark. And that's why we're talking about the grey, because it's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful thing that they achieve. So they absolutely deserve to be on this list.
It just, I mean, listening to something like Church, Grady popping up as well.
Incredible song.
It's we could talk for ages about the insincerity of a lot of music out there, um, but you can hear it. You can hear when it's just being done for money, or it's not. The heart isn't quite in it, or whatnot. And something like Church is at the top end of the other scale, where they're doing this because they absolutely want to.
Mm,
That's what it should be about. Any kind of music.
I think it's the speech that Andy gives before playing that song.
mm.
It kind of it's like that sets it up, and then the song just fucking knocks it out of the park. So if you haven't seen them live, I'm not going to spoil it, but the way it sets up and the way that song builds into this massive crescendo anyway,
Yeah.
it's just yeah, it's spine tingling stuff.
And to that point, that is an example of a band that understand performance, they
Yeah,
understand dynamics,
yeah,
they understand how that works in a live environment, and they absolutely capture it and nail it and just do it in a way that you will connect with. I reassure you. No, I don't reassure you because I'm assuring you. Um,
then you
Sure.
reassure.
yeah, but yeah, so I immediately reassure you, but no, I assure you, you'll get it. You'll get it.
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
all of
100%.
that aside, though, the album fucking cooks.
Yeah,
You
it
know,
fucking does. And
it
look,
just,
there's a lot of great post metal out there at the moment, an
yeah,
awful lot of great post metal, but this is the outstanding one. So
yeah, because I think it has personality, and that's the thing. You know, we talk
yeah,
all this talk of emotion, really. What we're trying to say is this album and this music, they put some personality into it, and I
yeah,
think that's so important in all music, but they've definitely captured it here.
yeah, yeah, 100%. Right, number five.
Oh, now Tregenza. Surely at this point
Big
we have to put the spotlight on
dominate
you,
picks, people.
Well,
because
yeah,
because
I
this
mean,
was your number one album of the year.
this is my number one. So Creeper, Sangrevoor 2, Mistress of Death. It
You've
was
just
my
stop giving a fuck, haven't you?
Yeah, I have really. It's shameless. I will happily have an orgy with this band. But it was my number one, and reason it was your number two, wasn't it? So
Number two, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so between the two of us, I mean, look, what can we say about Creeper? When Sangrevoor came out, we told the story before. It's one of my all-time top 10. This was never going to beat it, right? I'm not saying this is better, but and I was very torn whether this is my album of the year or another one, which we may or may not talk about a little bit later. But it's a very different album to the first Sangrevoor. Obviously, it carries on with the theme and the concept, but song-wise, it is a different approach. It's a rock album, isn't it? Reason it's like this is how you perfectly craft great rock songs.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the first Sangrevoor was incredibly ambitious, but they absolutely nailed it.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that was part of the surprise. We heard this, and this was after we neither of us had really taken to the band before, and I was certainly thinking, "Oh God, have I been
Do you
completely
know
wrong
it?
about this band?"
I've opened a can of worms.
It's
Yeah,
it's worth acknowledging that, because I think the setup for this, like this album, was completely set by the previous album,
Yeah,
which which
100%.
which
Yeah,
took people by surprise. So
yeah.
there was all this conversation going on around the first album, so the anticipation began there, to be fair.
Yeah, and the
they,
expectation of this album was obviously going to be high.
but
Mm.
I think they've done the right thing because they haven't made, well, they've made Sangrevoor 2, but they haven't made Sangrevoor 2,
Yeah,
if that makes any
yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah, it's not the same album. They've said, right, you know what, we've done that. And to be fair, following an album up like almost exactly 2 years later feels quite unheard of for bands who are in the ascendancy. It's like 3 years these days, isn't it?
yeah,
So I don't think they could have made that same album in the same space of time. But yeah, you've got 10 or 11 straight up rock songs. But there's a bit of metal, there's a bit of punk, there's a bit of goth, a little bit of indie. There's every song's got a different flavour to it but is still rock. They're all like 3 to 4 minutes. Um, there's no skips whatsoever. For me, we talked about, like, that was the last album was like the great, a great unheard Jim Steinman album, wasn't it? Whereas this feels like, they've taken all the best straightforward bangers from all the great sort of 80s movies. And it does feel in some ways like a sort of spiritual sequel to the Lost Boys. I
yeah,
think
Yeah,
there's a
I
lot
get
of
that. Yeah.
sounds on there that remind me of that album. But they're probably going for that. But yeah, choruses, anthems, solos, riffs,
it's
We like
banal,
it's
we
sickening.
do
in the
like a
darkness.
chorus on this podcast. We
Yeah,
do
just a
like a
little bit, and
chorus.
it is
And
fucking
it's
sickening. Headstones is the song of the year, hands down for me. Like the chorus in that is just ridiculous. Uh, um, Parasite, the juxtaposition between
Yeah.
Hannah and Will, the suck, suck, suck. It's Rocky Horror. Love it. It's brilliant. I think one of the ones I want to shout out though is Razor Wire,
yeah,
which like it feels like it's almost being sung in a 1940s Art Deco hotel by a woman lying on a piano. It's like it's
Say what?
very sort
Yeah,
of
I can
loungy.
yeah.
get that. Yeah.
You know what I
Mm.
mean?
Oh,
It's
it is old cabaret brought
yeah,
into
it's cabaret. That's
January.
exactly it.
Yeah,
But it all
absolutely.
fits within the flow of the album. At no point do you think, no, that doesn't work. It's all over the place, but it's just a perfect flow. It's an utterly magnificent piece of work. It really is.
Right.
I
It's
mean,
a
I
it's
mean
a
that is
masterclass.
the sweet spot when multiple influences can be just be seamlessly
Yeah,
kind of integrated into an album. There was a period in the 90s where a lot of bands were kind of doing this kind of jarring sort of like moving from genre to genre, and it was horrible. And I think it was this kind of post Faith No More period where people assumed, oh, you just kind of be mad. But when a band can take multiple influences and really just draw them together in a very cohesive way,
yeah,
it's it's a joy to listen to. It
yeah.
is.
it
If
was
you- yeah,
third on my list, and I agree. Headstones is absolutely brilliant. Um, what I'm finding is every time I listen to it, I might have a slightly different favorite, right? But also, right, this passes the cultural advisor's brushing my teeth test. Is that I'll wake up in the morning and I'll have an earworm, right, when I'm brushing my teeth, and I'm like, it's Creeper again, right? Blood Magic, it's a ritual, has often been a brushing the teeth earworm this year. It's just fun, it's theatrical, it's flamboyant. You know, when we saw them down in Margate, the whole kind of Rocky Horror Show element is just there. There's a bit of Queen, there's Meatloaf. They're just performers. The whole concept of it, the branding, the theatrics, the makeup, the characters they play, just it's just fucking perfect.
yeah. It
I
is.
think
They've got it
Tregenza
nailed.
pointed out, I think a while back. I think Blood Magic has got a bit of bedded nails by Alice Cooper about it.
Yeah, 100%. It's got
Yeah,
yeah, it's that melody and you can take all those 80s elements that we all love because that's the age we are when you're watching like Stranger Things and stuff and you get the throwbacks to that era. But I think this stuff just sounds fresh. It doesn't sound like a throwback. It takes all those great elements, like you said, Lost Boys and things, but it's not shameless. It's a fresh spin on everything.
it's because there's again they're not. We know what a lot of chart music is like these days and how it's being pushed by the music industry in the direction. But it harks back to a time where there wasn't a fuss about production. Well, there was actually. No, let me come back to that.
Yeah.
The 80s had a big production. We know that, but
Yeah.
the production suited the songs. It
Yeah.
was all about the songs first, big choruses, big melodies, get those right, and then enhance those with the production. Whereas these days, I think a lot of mainstream music is about having them very produced first, regardless of what the songs are like. And this harks back to getting the songs right, getting those earworms, as you say, cultural. It's it's the right order.
And just because Alice Cooper and production was mentioned, I want to give a shout out to the Revenge of Alice Cooper, which was a 2025 album that came out, which hasn't made the list, but I think is worthy of conversation because it's the first time, it's the first Alice Cooper album I've heard in a long time that just has that feeling of that Alice Cooperness about it.
It's the original Alice Cooper band,
Alice
isn't it?
Cooper, the band, not the man. That's the thing. So, I know we're talking about our top 11, but in the kind of almost made it, I do want to give a shout out to that album because I think it was great. It's a great example of an album where charisma really kind of overrides. I think there's a lot of legacy bands like Alice Cooper, Ozzy Osbourne to a degree, where at various points in their career, session musicians have come in and sort of constructed the tunes and,
Megadeth.
listen, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in the next recording, maybe.
No, it's not.
But the new Alice Cooper album, The Revenge of Alice Cooper, with the new Alice Cooper band, sorry, not the new not the new Alice Cooper band, the original Alice Cooper
Yeah.
band, is capturing its personality. Bob Ezrin is producing again, and that counts, right? Personality in music is important. So I'm shouting that out as an offshoot on the kind of creeper comments about, it's about charisma, it's about personality, it's about bringing something to the music that is more than just, okay, these are the notes and this is the riffs.
I remember the first time you listened to that this year, Bean, and you were genuinely excited, and you were excited to tell us all, and we all had to go and listen to it.
I'm sorry
That's
about that.
what you want. You know, you want that passion.
I'm telling you, like, oh man, there's a lot of music, we know this, like, gets pushed out week by week. Every Friday night it's new release day and there's hundreds of albums. But that Alice Cooper album, I think it struck me as a contrast to the last Alice Cooper album, which was great, which was fine, but to my ears it sounded like session musicians playing some competent songs that Alice Cooper sang on. But The Revenge of Alice Cooper, which is the original Alice Cooper band, and I realise I'm kind of hijacking our top 11 here, so
we're all gonna have to
just to make the point, this hasn't scored in our top 11, but I am shouting it out because it was close to it. It's an example of an album that has been made with all the care and attention to charisma that I've enjoyed. Going back to what we said at the beginning of this episode about 90s albums, about that being the last generation of albums that were kind of like really gave a shit about good production. And that's not to say there aren't examples of that exist now because we're talking about them. But it's great.
He's lost it.
I've lost.
He's got so excited. He's
I got
driven
so
himself down a
excited
dead end.
that I just kind of tripped over the cliff there. But and I can't even remember how we got into that conversation. But Alice Cooper, The Revenge of Alice Cooper, is our number one album of the year.
Anyway, Creeper, yay!
Creeper and Creeper.
Right.
Also.
Anyway, look, Champions League places.
Ooh.
So number 4, Inhuman Nature, Greater Than Death. Again, another British band.
Listen,
we had them play at Bay Days a few weeks ago.
I could do an equally ramshackle rant about this album as I just did about Alice Cooper.
Just
but I will.
No more booze for Bean.
I'll give the stage to my colleagues.
This is another album, that crossover vein, just riffs coming out of every orifice. I mean, what the good thing about this album is that if you're a thrash fan, you're gonna notice kind of nodes of Testament, Overkill,
Yeah.
Prime Metallica,
Yeah.
Megadeth.
Yeah.
You know, it's all in there. I think it's track 4. The first couple of bars sound like it could be off a Testament album. The
You're talking about Servants of Annihilation, aren't you?
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's like, you know, this album is entitled, you know, it's all about the riffs. And, you know, if the riffs on this album were Russian, they'd be in The Hague on trial for war crimes. That's how brutal they are. You know, I mean, they're not as brutal as if they would be if they were, you know, Israeli. But it's just like the name says it all, isn't it? Inhumane, in human nature. The production. You know, again, you've got Chris Barling. He knows his metal. He knows how to write a song. You talk about, you know, passionate. Just this is great. This album is fantastic.
It is, and I think just to your point, you mentioned all those bands. I feel as excited listening to this album as I do listening to the early output of all of those bands that you just mentioned. Like this is the reason that we feel excited about heavy metal.
Yeah.
You know, there's passion, there's energy, there's, you know, enthusiasm, there's all the things that we enjoyed about the early output of all those bands you just mentioned, whether it's Testament, you know, Megadeth, whatever it is, Metallica.
Fucking kicks you in the teeth.
It kicks you in the teeth. Right, and that's why we all signed up to this shit.
Yeah, to get kicked in the teeth.
Sorry, yeah,
no, but it is. No, it's like we all moan about how, like, oh, it's not like Ride the Lightning, and it's not like this, and it's not like that. This album is like all of those albums, right? This is the album that the fucking metal fraternity has been waiting for. Fucking have it.
Like,
fucking lap it up.
It's track. Like the title track "Greater Than Death" is great. The track I was talking about was "Possessed to Die," track 3. Again, it sounds like sounds like you could just lift that fucking intro straight off New World Order by Testament. And obviously we'll get to Testament at some point, I suppose.
What?
But
what?
No, surely not. No, they've done fuck all this year.
Look, I think just to call them a crossover band, though, he's doing them a bit of a disservice because there's more than that. There's way more than that going on in this album.
Oh, no,
There's a punk influence. You've got a crust influence. The hardcore influence, obviously, is with this band because it's in their background. You know, it's more of a melting pot. Bands like, you know, like they get compared to Power Trip a lot. They don't fucking sound anything like Power Trip.
No, they don't.
You know, they put their own spin on modern thrash metal.
It feels like, to be fair, their main motivator, you know, you've got all of these different influences in metal, but it sounds like their main motivator to me is basically it needs to be fucking dirty.
Yeah.
That's what strikes me about it.
It's bar fight metal.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's what you want. You know, we talk about, you know, the effects that bands like The Grey have on you, but in Human Nature have a similar impact, but it's a very different effect.
They're feral.
Yeah,
basically they are feral,
and that's what we want from
it. And another example of a band that, you know, you can see them live, and we did, because again, this is another band that they that played Bay Days and absolutely floored it. But that feral energy comes across on the record.
Yeah,
you know, and that's so important. That's so important that a metal record makes you feel the filth.
The production is absolutely bang on. It's raw enough to be raw, but it's, you know, it's not messy.
It kicks along.
This is exactly.
It kicks along. Never outstays its welcome, either.
No.
Bang! Next track, we're on again.
Yeah. And that's my point. This is what metal fans have been like screaming out for years. You know, they all talk about these Rain in Blood and Ride the Lightning. It's like, just put this record on, man. You have that shit. You've got it. It's there. It's there. Go out and take it.
Again, yes, you're right. Because
one at a time.
I think there's Lines in the Sand 2, Madman and Madman's Cage. There's a fucking riff in there that doesn't sound exactly like, but it's in the same style as Jeff Hanneman's riff at the end of Rain and Blood.
There you go.
No, it's just like it's like you go somewhere completely different, and you have the same thing to drink that you would back home, and it tastes exactly the same, or you can tell it's similar. It's like you just like if you know your 80s thrash, you're gonna just immediately detect all the different shit that's going on this album. Buy it. Buy more than one copy. Buy more than one copy. One copy for the car. This band need the money. Line their pockets so they can keep making music.
They deserve to go on.
They'll keep making music whether you buy it or not. And that's the beauty of it.
If they need money, they just need to ask. Uncle Padre will take care of it for them.
Yeah, it's Uncle Padre have it. Reason was trying to make a point before you rudely interrupted him.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I think obviously we talk about all the thrash, but I think the vibe and the sound is very in tune to me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Yeah, I get that.
It's just that nasty oomph to it that in tune did so well.
That's not a bad fucking endorsement, is it?
It's not. I think nasty oomph should be a genre in itself.
There's a band called Oomph.
Oomph is a genre, isn't it?
Feral thrash.
Is it? Oh no, Oomph was a band. Sorry, ignore me there.
Yeah, they are a band. Yeah, saw them once.
Oomph was a band. Yeah, that was that weird German genre that Rammstein did. Yeah.
Right, number 3. This is the cultural advisor, the trainee, whatever you want to call him. This is your album of the year.
Paradise Lost vinyl. That must be nice to have.
Well, yeah, and there's no skips in it.
No skips.
There's a bad people for some reason. I ended up with 2 copies, and so I've given it a break for now, and I'll find an orange version at some point.
We've talked about it. We talked about it because we reviewed it and we waxed lyrical about it, and we talked. Bean and I caught them live. So this is Gav's album of the year. So why is it your album of the year?
Padre touched on it earlier, right? Storytelling, right? This is an hour and 1 minute of your time, right? You have got to sit there and take this in, and it is going to take you on a journey, right? There's atmosphere, there's the juxtaposition of the kind of the growling vocals and the kind of the clean vocals, and it just builds and builds and builds. And it's right. If they did this right in a cathedral, it would be fucking incredible, right? You
just now. The old Kill to This bassist is doing it, isn't it? Or guitarist.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, you'd just be absolutely blown away. I mean, what I've really liked on this one is that as I've listened to it, a bit like the Creeper one, I've just found different songs each time that I have listened to it, and this is one where it is an investment in time.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Last year that I kind of had Rotten Christ up there in my kind of top 5, I think it was, right? And this reminds me a bit of that, is that, everything kind of leads you to the end of the album. And when it finishes, it feels like it's kind of closed the story. I just think it's brilliant. It's haunting at times.
I think that's a significant point to make, like, as the culture advisor and someone that's really connected with cinema, to have an album that presents itself as a beginning and a middle and an end and a journey, which this album does, I think, speaks to the way you connect with that.
Yeah, I think Lay a Reef Upon the World just it's fucking amazing. It literally takes you somewhere else. You could be floating on a cloud somewhere, right?
Where specifically?
In Wales, in God's country.
Oh.
But then there are elements of it which bring in really good choruses. So Savage Days, right? It's got a proper chorus and it is a proper song.
Yeah.
It's a funny one where this album is is an hour. Like you said, it is an investment in time. And I think you do need to listen to like all of it in one go as well for it to kind of take effect. It would be hard to pick songs out and kind of listen to them on their own. Is that in my Apple playlist? It's right up there in terms of time spent, ruined obviously by the fact that fucking Dream Theater are number one because of you, like you bastards. But I do not regret a single second in listening to that over and over and over again. I honestly think it's brilliant.
I don't need to say anything more about it. I mean, we've spoken loads about them, and we all know, we've been with Paradise Lost for many, many years, and it is a fucking wonderful piece of work.
It's a wonderful album, and I just listening to Gav's description there, I think that is a great summary of their career, because I think they are a band that tell stories and kind of draw you in, and their entire thing has been about this kind of epic closeness, because what they do is huge, but it draws you in and you become invested in these stories. And that was my experience with this new album. It didn't immediately hit me,
Yeah,
but
definitely took a few goes. Definitely.
and that's the thing. But there was something, even from the first listen, there was something compelling that made you go back to it and just listen and
It's
listen.
There's like a battle of light and dark
Always,
in it,
always.
constantly, kind of like fighting against each other.
That is Paradise Lost. I mean, that really is Paradise Lost.
Out of interest, Gav, have you gone back through Paradise Lost back catalogue since?
Well, it must have been about 18 months ago. I think it was one of you said you need to listen to Paradise Lost. So I'd actually had listened to some of their earlier stuff anyway. Yeah.
No, so yeah, so that I think that probably helps, because as a standalone album, I could see how it might leave someone a bit cold, because it isn't that easy to penetrate. But when you put it within the context of Paradise Lost's catalog, I think we talked about it on the review. Like, you could slot this in somewhere earlier in their history. So it's a proper Paradise Lost album, if that makes sense. It doesn't feel like an offshoot or just a phone it in job. They've absolutely fucking.
Oh, no, I mean,
They're still absolutely nailing it.
I mean, I mean, it's a bit lower down my list because I think it's quite slow at times, and I think it don't always enthuse about that kind of stuff towards the fast. But
You're just grumpy because of the record.
there is that, but no, it is taking a while. I think it was it came out in October.
Yeah.
So I think if it come out early in the year, maybe it would be higher on my list, because it does take a lot of work, I think.
But it's still on the list.
It's that time,
which I think speaks volumes. I think that's the key thing, and I think that's probably true of all Paradise Lost albums. Is you do have to sit with them.
Yeah.
They're not pop albums, right? They're not gonna just give everything they have to give at the first listen. And that's what we've experienced with the newest, and that's why it's so high up.
Yeah.
If you want to see a Paradise Lost that you have to stick with, go and read the fucking book.
Anyway, let's move on before
literature.
But one thing I will say, like you said about the struggle between like dark and light in Paradise Lost music. What do you think the fucking book is about? Where do you think they get it from? Jesus fucking Christ!
Are you talking about the Bible?
Yes.
Anyway,
Lucifer.
Right, someone mute him. Right, look, from one legendary band to another, over the other side of the Atlantic, all the way to the Bay Area. Fucking Testament, Parabellum. Look, I don't know about you lot, but this one really caught me by surprise, because for some reason I wasn't expecting much of it. We said this in the review, but I mean, I think what we came down to with Testament was we just made us realize how consistent a band they are, and this album talks to that. And look, it's got absolute fucking bangers from start to finish.
Yeah.
The opening track, For the Love of Pain, right? There's a black metal moment a minute or so in, which just comes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
But you still know it's Testament.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the album, you got stuff like Shadow People, which is just fucking ridiculous. Havana Syndrome, which I think it was called, was
Yeah.
I mean,
just just the most
it's
ridiculous
basically
hook.
Testament by numbers, but it's just great, isn't it?
Exactly, but Testament by Numbers is like fine art. It's you know what I mean? If you do it this well, why fuck with it? And that's what this album is. This is Testament doing what
It's
Testament
like
do
I
well.
said, consistently they've just maintained a consistent output all the way through their career. They've been blips up. There's been high points, but there's never been that,
There's never been a
I
Sananga
mean,
or a
There's
Risk.
only really
I mean,
low
I was
points.
trying not to mention one of those bands, but
I would wager that this is Testament doing the reason we're talking about this and we're putting this so highly is because it's not just Testament doing Testament, it's Testament finding new ideas and new
Yeah,
gears,
yeah.
right? That black metal element took me by surprise. That gear that fucking Chuck Billy hits in his vocal took
Oh,
me by
yeah,
surprise.
yeah.
Right?
That's worth mentioning.
There are things happening on this album that I've not heard Testament do before.
Yeah,
And that's why it scores so highly, because this is a legacy band that are doing new things.
yeah,
And you know, controversial as it may be, I score that against a band like Megadeth, who are, you know, they're two singles into their new kind of final album, and I'm thinking this is a band that are just phoning it in.
Testament
texting it.
outdid Megadeth 3 albums ago. I
Well,
mean,
no,
Yeah,
okay,
4
I get
albums
that,
ago.
but I'm bringing this to the here and the now. Testament have just put an album out that has got new ideas. They're exploring new territory for themselves,
yeah,
places they've never gone before.
yeah.
Still doing what we enjoy about Testament. So the combination of those things just is like I'm all for that. Like this is an example of a legacy band that are still bringing the fucking they're bringing it. They are bringing it.
And
There's
sound like they're
all
still having fun.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, there's
they've
all
got
sorts going
ideas.
on.
They've got inspiration.
There's variance all the way through, isn't there? And I think meant to be
Oh,
a kind of ballad, right? Now, if this had come out in 1987, right, would have been Scott and Charlene's wedding song. Fuck
Yes,
Andrea
Hotline
Anderson.
Reason
off.
done the
Angry
capital.
Anderson can get in the bin.
I was about to say they've already got Rose Tattoo involved, so you know.
Oh fuck.
Man.
No,
It isn't. Joking aside, right? Meant to be. It's a great song.
it's up there
Yeah.
with Return to Serenity for
Yeah,
me. Like
right.
the other
Great,
big
Um,
ballad they've
a
done.
great song. There you
Yeah.
go. Like,
And
when's
the
the
other
last?
thing I'm really pleased about as well is that whoever fucked up with room 17 or room 177, where it was different in wherever you went. So, like on the Apple playlist, it was 117. I think on the Amazon website, it was 177. Somebody fucked up somewhere.
On
They've
here
sorted
it's
it.
117.
Yeah, they've sorted it out now, and everybody seems to be agreed that it is room 117.
See,
Well, that's what he says in the lyrics, so I'm
Yeah, you'd hope
hoping
so.
they got
Yeah.
that. Well, it's like In
Well,
Flames did the same thing with a new word back in the day, didn't they?
who
fucking
knows?
flames. But yeah, look, it's Testament. We all fucking love Testament, and the fact that they have literally caught us on the hop and just nailed an absolute fucking banger. So
Yeah, do
look,
you
I
know
want them
what?
to come back and
Have they caught us on on the hop?
well, they caught me on the hop because,
I think
like I said, I
Testament are a
wasn't
band
expecting it
that
to be
like,
this good.
but we kind of we you know, it's
Uh,
like
yeah.
we all pay attention to the Metallicas and the Megadeths,
Yeah,
and when Testament, you know, Testament have been a reliable band for a long
Yeah.
time.
yeah,
I don't know if you think of what Creator and Overkill have come out with in the last couple of years.
yeah.
I was positive.
That's
I
true.
Yeah,
Very true.
I just think we need to shine a spotlight on bands like that. Like Creator Singles, like they're gearing up for a new album. And what I've heard so far is really good.
Yeah.
Just
Testament
January.
have just put out a really good album. It's like these are the bands we need to put a spotlight on. Legacy bands that are doing great shit.
Yeah,
I mean, let's be honest. I mean, I'm trying to think who was there. I think myself, Bin, and Tregenza was there. But yeah, Anthrax, Creator, and Testament last
yeah.
year,
Yeah,
a year ago.
yeah,
I mean, phenomenal,
yeah. And
phenomenal gig.
And Testament accused they've got a new album like in the wood.
Anthrax, you mean?
Sorry, Anthrax. Yeah,
Yeah.
Anthrax
Well,
have a
it's
new
about
album
time.
in the wood.
Put the wine down.
No,
It's
no.
Christmas. It's allowed. It's
It's
fine.
Christmas. It's the end of it's the album of the year episode.
Uh,
Well, on
Like
that note,
take
should we?
take me as you see me.
That's an offer you can't refuse. Should we do the album of the year then?
Big drum roll,
This,
Bean.
We get a
this is
drum roll.
this. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
I mean, there's no sound effects, but
And no one's going to guess it.
I
No
think a
one.
lot of people will guess this because this is a band that I think have featured on a lot of end of year lists, and a lot of people are talking about
Well,
this
they
album.
should
Yeah,
have. It should be our special thing.
we've
Yeah.
we've talked. Yeah, we talked about them a bit, and this has been a real kind of slow burner, I think, hasn't it? This is a weird one that all of us have all had on our list. You know, there's a few that we've all got, but this is one is obviously it's number one, but
Yeah.
it's really stood out. And that's Mesa, the spin. Um, I mean,
Me and you spoke about this earlier on in the year, didn't we, on the
yeah,
album roundup? And on that, um, I still remember we were in Bristol just after this had come out, and you picked it up and immediately like, I've got to get this. And I kind of said, I liked it, but I haven't really gone back to it. And you said, look, I'm getting it. This is brilliant, right? I reckon this will end up near the top of my list.
yeah.
And I immediately went back and kind of listened, and it's never gone away.
But the weird thing about that is, like all the way back then, I had a feeling it would be around, right? But I still wasn't quite sold on it. But I knew there was something in it because it's completely unique. I haven't heard an album like this. I don't think ever. The different sort of styles that they mix and the output it creates is completely unique. I've
It
seen
is
them live.
the most unique heavy rock album I've heard in a
Yeah,
very long time.
absolutely. I've seen them live twice this year. The first time was at Alcatraz, and you know the sun shining outside and all that kind of thing. And it was good, but it didn't quite hit. When they supported Paradise Lost in October in a much more suitable setting, they were better than Paradise Lost. You know, we're not going to lie. They stole the night, and there's a cool about them. Like the songs are so beautifully written, and there's just hooks everywhere. Her vocals are just
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking incredible. Like it's one for the ages. This, and I still don't quite know why, and I don't quite know what it is that's so good about it. But
Well,
it just hits every single spot.
you've just described it.
Something that struck me.
It's about songs. It's about arrangement. It's about
Yeah,
performance, and
atmosphere.
that
You know,
trilogy comes together, and just that's what's happening on this album, and
yeah,
they've nailed it. And I think it's testament to the amount of you know different social media kind of outlets or whatever they're doing their albums of the year, and Mesa, the spin, has featured on so many because it's brilliant.
yeah.
It really is brilliant.
It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, I want them to come back and do some headline shows. I almost want them to play some jazz clubs and things like that because I think
Just
that's the
oh
setting
man,
where it'll
imagine
work.
that, a
You
small
know?
venue,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Get them in Ain't Nothing But the Blues.
oh my god, man.
Be
Do you know
amazing.
what? I'd
Get them in
lose my
there.
shit. I would lose my shit. You're right.
There's
You're
also
right.
you've got heavy parts, you've got the delicate parts. You could imagine this band playing acoustic as well as full electric. There's all of that. You've got that
This is
deep South blues influence as well.
this is heavy metal, right? The heavy metal is a contrast, heavy metal is the dynamics. Heavy metal is the light and the dark. And Mesa have completely captured that on this
Yeah.
release.
The thing is, it's probably the most goth album of the year
Proper goth.
because it covers gothic metal, gothic doom, doesn't it? Death doom as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
With a bit more swampy, but I mean, Christ, it starts out like classic Susie and the Banshees. It sounds like something off a Juju album, and it's got those sort of dark post-punk vibes as well, and it's yeah. I mean, if you're goth and you haven't heard this album, it's like, what the hell are you doing?
Go and cry in a dark corner.
I thought, there's a song on the at races,
Yeah.
and it sounds like a James Bond thing.
It could
Oh,
be.
it's definitely got
100%.
Bond.
Man,
Yeah,
that's a
Yeah.
whole nother level.
Like
That's
if
a
they were,
whole nother level.
it's time that if they're going to redo those films, they need to get some different artists making music, making the theme songs. I mean, they step in the right direction with Chris Cornell, but we haven't seen much since. So.
But again, there is a cinematic feel to it, isn't
yeah,
it? They've got. I mean, it's 7 songs, but one of them, is 8 minutes long, and you've got that saxophone sort of thing going on at some point, haven't you? And
yeah. And
it's
again,
just
that's
then,
that cool.
yeah, and then obviously the start of the next song, you've got fucking blast beats for Christ's
Yeah.
sake.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so good. I think there's bits of it that catch you by surprise. At no point do you think, oh no, I'm a bit bored. But you've had to work for that, right? And those are the albums that always stick. Like the ones that you just love instantly. Yeah, this is a banger. This is album of the year. Those are the ones you forget 3 months down the line. Whereas this, because it's taken a bit of work,
Yeah. It digs its hooks
yeah,
in,
yeah,
and once
properly.
they're in,
It
they're
digs its
they're
claws into
staying.
your back, Gav.
Yeah. Yeah. With those vocals being whispered into your ears.
I think that's the point. Is it does take work, but there's enough on the initial listen that that
Makes you
makes you
want
want to
more.
come back.
Yeah,
I think that's yeah.
You keep coming back.
I think those bass lines were what hooked me in to begin with. It's like, yeah, that's
Yeah,
that 80s bass line, so
yeah.
I'll stick with it.
Well, the first track, isn't it, Void Meridian, that's got the real post punk bass line, and that's the hook that got me. That's like, right, I'm thinking I'm gonna like this. I'm gonna
Right.
work at it. I'm gonna keep listening to it, and coin cliches. It's like a feet up on the sofa, glass of wine.
Oh no, it is. It is. It's
That,
you can't really do anything else. It's one that you've got to sort of listen to,
yeah.
actually listen to, not read at the same time or do anything. It's that kind of album.
And something I noticed about watching them live as well was they managed to captivate people to a point that not many people, no one was really filming them. There wasn't any phones in the air. People were just watching them. Not people taking photos and that, but
Mm,
people were kind of just watching. They were in that moment, and
mm.
they create that with how they deliver this performance. Just fucking magnificent stuff. Absolutely fucking magnificent. So there you go. That's it. Album of the year.
Worthy
Mesa,
number
The
one.
Spin.
Out so
100%.
Mesa, the Spin, album of
Yeah,
the year,
yeah.
100%.
Well worthy of number
In
one.
the Abyss endorsed.
Yeah, not that they'll give a shit, but there you go.
No, but we give a shit. It's an
Fucking
important
right we do.
album.
Yeah. Look, I think it's been a strong year of albums. I mean, the last couple of years have been a bit relentless, but this year's been a much sort of slower burn, I think,
Do you
through
know,
the
it's
year.
funny,
No?
there's been a lot of text going back and forth saying, oh, I'm not like this year seems a bit slim. But then I read our individual lists and just thought, do you know what?
I,
There's some fucking strong
Yeah,
releases.
I
Yeah.
think that the last couple of years were just mad. That
yeah.
post-COVID period. I think people were catching up, and it was overkill. I think a lot of the
Yeah, I've
time.
been able to be a bit more selective this year,
Yeah.
and that I think our list kind of tells that story really. It's quite,
Yeah.
there's
I mean,
all
this
sorts
is
of different stuff.
obviously only the second time that I've done this, and I found this year harder to pull the list together. But also different albums have, like you said, have found their way through that top 10.
Yeah,
There's certainly some where I thought early on in the year, oh, these will be definitely up there. They're not even in the top
yeah,
40 now. And you listen to some stuff, you compare it against others, you kind of grow. And like some weeks, it is deafening the amount that's out there.
yeah. It is. Yeah,
Right? And it might be that one album where you come back to it a couple of weeks later that all of a sudden you just go, oh, hang on a minute. A little hook. And then, it builds and it builds and it builds. I think this is just a really good example of one because I think it was March, April time that this one came out. It must have been because it was just before we were in
yeah,
Bristol.
it's late March. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so, I mean, that's had a long time to kind of stick around and it's done a bloody good job, hasn't it?
yeah. And all of that is why Mesa, The Spin is our album of the year. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll be back again next week where we'll talk about everything else from the year, gigs, bell ends, people.
As is important,
Hooray!
but also,
Yeah.
also just kind of put the comments in what your album of the year was.
Yeah, we need to know. Yeah,
We need to know because
Definitely.
that's
See what we
ours.
missed
But
and-
There's
what
probably something we've missed as well in there.
what have we missed?
Yeah,
Yeah, just
You
don't
know,
send us your bell ends.
please
no,
don't do that. Please don't do that.
no,
But
no. Voice explicitly said he wants you to do that.
we will talk about that next week. So until then, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Stay metal. Cheers.